John Schultz from Toronto asks, Sylvia and Jen, when developing a story such as American Mary, how does the creative process work between you two? From concept to writing to film production, what's the dynamic like between you two?
Usually, to even come up with a concept, we just sit there and we'll shoot ideas back and forth, like half-assed ones, full-assed ones. And, if we don't immediately like it, we just shoot it the fuck down. Because if we can't get excited from the first even idea of it, it's not going to work for the two of us. Especially one of the things about making a film is it has to be an idea you're so passionate about because you're going to be talking about it for the rest of your life. Like Dead Hooker in Her Trunk. I like it, and I'm going to talk about it probably for the rest of my life. Robert Rodriguez had a guy with a guitar case filled with guns. You need to have something really exciting, so we'll shoot it back and forth until we get an idea that's like a medical student that does body modification. Then if we're both excited, we start fleshing out the characters and what happens and
locations, different sequences. I think I remember what happened to Dr. Grant was almost immediately after we got the idea out, because I had read it in different scripts, but they had never done it. They never got it on TV. They never got it in films. The closest thing is like Boxing Helena. I was like, that would be a really cool trick to do. And then it's all completely non-linear too.
Yeah, and we like to make sure that there's some standout scenes as well. Who was it that said a good movie is 3 great scenes and no bad scenes?
Howard Hawk.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you have that element too. And we usually jump around when we write. We'll have the beginning, the end, the bottom of Act 2, and we'll have a couple what the fuck scenes in there too, just to keep things exciting and going. And then we'll argue over who gets to go first. And if you get to go first, then you get second pick of, okay, then I get the ending, or then I get the bottom of Act 2, and then we just flesh it out from there. And we don't exactly follow the timeline that we write it on, because we're writing to amuse each other as well. So she'll write something, and then I'll come in and I'll read it over and make adjustments, or just sit there and laugh, or be like, oh God, so this is awful. No, it's perfect.
We tag each other, and one of us gets to play video games and while the other one's writing, and while you're playing video games, you look over and like, oh, she's stuck, and you go over there, and then it's like, oh, but I really want to write something, I got a really good idea. It's like, oh, fine, I'll go over there, and you're like, okay, I already got these guns, so you keep playing this level and we'll go back.
And by the time the script is finished, we have such an intimate vision of what we want, and there's a lot of black on our page.
Yeah.
You have the sound cues, you have what soundtracks, you have where the camera's going to go, you have lighting cues, you have every little subtlety. And some people bitch, oh, there's so much black on the page, but it's like when you read one of our scripts, you already see the film, because otherwise it's just a bunch of setups and then dialogue back and forth. And you can't really get a feel for that. Even if there's a stunt scene or a fight, we write down every little fight and every little hit and how the blood comes out and how the reaction is, just so you have like that vision. Because otherwise someone can read your script and it's interpretive, and we don't want someone interpreting it. We want someone to know exactly what we're going for. So by the time we even set foot on set, we know exactly what we want. And if we have a question, we'll be like, Did you read the script? Okay, well, it's in there, but this is actually what we want.
Which is exactly what an actor wants when he has a question. He's like, did you read the script, sweetie? So just look there. It's written down.
Your note was usually, do it good like an actor.
I didn't.
Yeah?
Yes,
Yeah. If you ask her a stupid question, she'll just say, do it good like an actor.
And they did. So who was right?
You, obviously.
Tamara Whelan from Australia again.
Their name's Tomorrow?
Tamara.
Ah.
I've got a dozy question for Jen and Sylvia, or maybe you guys at Anchor Bay Movies. If you've got a brilliant film idea, one that is totally original and it's kind of down on paper, who can you present it to that will make it a reality?
Okay. Can I answer this one?
Yes.
Can I answer it first? For the love of God, don't tell your idea to fucking anybody. Oh my God, for the love of, don't say it. Because there's so many people that have great ideas and it's original, and they're like, maybe I'll pitch it to someone and they'll make it. No, they'll just fucking steal your idea.
If it's a good enough idea,
If it's a good idea, for the love of God, don't tell anybody ever. A friend once pitched me his amazing TV series, and it was, I won't repeat the concept because it's so good and it is down on paper, and after he pitched it to me, he said, what do you think? And I said, for the love of God, I hope you've never told that to anybody else ever. Because I was a naive, hopeful Charles Xavier once, and I thought, oh, everyone loves everyone, let's help, let's do the art thing. No, people are going to try and fucking rip your idea off. What you want to do is you want to write your script in full, and then you want to copyright it, and you want to make sure it's fully copywritten. And if you have a company that you can put your script under, like Twisted Twins Productions, I know it's expensive, have that company, copyright it under your company, under your name, and then venture out into the world. But before that, do not share your idea. Even with me, when people send me an email with an idea, I delete it as soon as you start telling me your idea.
Also, if it's a brilliant, totally unique idea, dude, you are going to have the biggest fucking pain in the ass making that movie. No one is going to want to touch it, especially if it's original and not like anything else, because then it doesn't fit into a box. So you can't be like, it's like Fast and Furious 6, and it's like, that made a ton of money, but you don't have something you can categorize it with. With American Mary, people were like, what is it like? I'm like, it's like nothing. They're like, that's not really good.
It's not good.
What you're probably going to want to do, and if you thought of your concept in a way that you have it in a box that you can make it yourself, do that. Mm-hmm. And since you're the creator of it, if the concept can be done in a way where it takes low 6 figures, maybe 5 figures to make. If you can make it your own, absolutely do, because whether you want to be a writer or a director or anything, creating your own stuff and seeing the beats, it's going to teach you more than anything else. And that way you're still going to be able to have this precious baby of an idea as your own, and it's going to be the closest you get to it, because the more people you bring in, the more concessions you're going to have to make. You're going to have to fight to try to keep the soul of your film intact, but at the same time, depends who you're working with. If there's a bunch of people throwing a bunch of money into it, they get a say in what you're doing. So put this out there, and it's a great way for people to see what your name is, what it means, what kind of a creative artist that you are right now. And twistedtwinsproductions@gmail.com. If you want us to give you some advice of where to go or how to get that done, ask us, because we started off like little brats and we emailed like everybody being like, what the fuck do I do? I didn't know this was happening. So you can send me a what the fuck should I do? And I'll probably be like, this is what the fuck you should do. Good luck. You're probably still going to get fucked though.
I'll go buy Rebel Without a Crew too.
Rebel Without a Crew.
Buy Rebel Without a Crew and watch some Rodriguez stuff and get into how he did his stuff. Try and do it low budget. Don't write The Fifth Element right away.
Yeah.
Make that like your second or third film.
And somewhat related to that one is a question from Taylor Milne from Vancouver. Do you know Taylor? It's your hometown.
Oh my God, if I know you, Taylor, I'm sorry, I've been too drunk. Too drunk in our past.
It sounds familiar. It sounds familiar.
See, Tony Stark is my power animal, so that's
so I might be bullshitting.
What are your tips for getting a movie past development and into pre-production?
The first one, we maxed out our credit cards. The second one, our parents mortgaged their house. A lot of people are like Kickstarter, but I feel like if you put your own money into it, you're a lot more fucking careful where the dollars get spent. You know how many fucking rolls of toilet paper you have. You know when someone's just standing there fucking with their thumb up their ass. So, yeah.
If by production into development, you've scripted it and you have like your character designs and all that shit.
He says past development and into pre-production.
Pre-production. Okay, so you have it and you want money. Well,
put your own money into it.
Put your own money into it. If you can do it yourself style, because if you have a small amount of money and you can showcase how much you can make by maximizing your production value, that's fucking phenomenal. And people will be like, "Oh, they made that with just this? Yay, we'll give them some money later on." But truth be told, it's very hard to get money right now. I mean, there's a fucking recession going on. Even big time, your favorite director is having a hard time getting money for their things. So don't think that it's, because I'm an indie. It's because you're anybody.
But you can make it. Look at Astron 6. They made Manborg for like $1,500. Yeah. That movie is amazing. You can do that. You could be Astron 6. They have a new movie, The Editor, that's shooting this summer, and they got a much bigger budget. You have to start at a certain point, and then you keep building and building on top of that. Yeah. And send me your movie when you're done, man.
Well, Kostansky is an unusually talented individual. So
ridiculously
regardless of the
talented
price tag, not everybody's going to be able to pull that off.
No, not everybody is, but why not try? I think he's coming to the screening tomorrow.
Is he really?
They tweeted me on, they said our director's coming, Manfork did. And I was like, oh my God!
Oh my God, fangirl moment, just keep it cool.
I know. I love Astron 6 so much. They're my
Astron
favorite.
6.
Yeah.
Just a shameless plug for Astron 6.
Yeah.
Aren't you getting married to one of them?
Yeah, Connor
what's that
Sweeney.
about?
That's my question for you.
Connor Sweeney and I are getting married. We kept it quiet. We were engaged, I think, since 2011. We've never met each other, but we're passionately in love. It's mostly for the sex. Yeah. Does that help?
No, it's perfect.
Well, you mentioned your parents mortgaged their home for American Mary.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are your parents like? How supportive? Obviously, hugely, but what's their role in your endeavors?
They are the best producers ever. They made sure after Dead Hooker in a Trunk that we could still eat and still live, because this film itself wasn't very expensive, but the cost afterwards of taking time off work and editing the film and then personally printing out the screeners and sending them out, and it's a very costly process. And they were producers on American Mary, and also they both have cameo roles in American Mary. My dad is the surgeon, the German surgeon that works on the both of us. And they love horror, they really love us, they love the arts, but it's not like they had this burning desire to do a body modification story. They just wanted us to be able to follow our dreams. And when they offered to do that with the house, it was like, we've never been super rich. I mean, we've always tried to just make sure that house is paid for. And when they offered to do that, I'm glad they're not losing the house. They're the best parents in the world.
No, my mom doesn't like spiders. At least she didn't used to. I collect tarantulas. I have 13, and I've been on the road. Who's taking care of the tarantulas and the snake? My mom is. My parents are amazing. My dad owns his own graphic arts company called Twisted Twins. Or no, not Twisted Twins. That's my company. It's called Twin Graphics, and I'll be like, Dad, I need a bunch of posters that Jen and I can sign and send out. Plus, I need all this stuff for merchandising, and I need T-shirts, and I need this. And they never stop. They never anything. And then nothing's too weird. I mean, some of the content in my films are a bit weird, and I always run it past Mom and Dad because I like to call them real human beings, and they react like a normal person would, and they're just the best thing ever. Mom and Dad, you can see them in Bob. They're both getting speaking roles just because you watch the same edit over and over again, and you put people you actually care about in there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, look at that person. I fucking love that fucking person.
Joe Flynn asks, how do you cast the film roles?
Oh, I love Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hey,
Joe's
Joe.
sweet. Joe called in when we were on something, the Hannah Neurotica podcast the other day. That wasn't Joe?
No, that wasn't the Hannah Neurotica podcast. It was another podcast.
Whatever, he called in. He called in. He's a good man. He's in LA, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll probably see him at the screening.
Yeah, we will.
You know, we're obsessive with our casting. We never write for an actor except for Katie. Katie was the only time we'd ever been like, it's going to be Catherine Isabel, and that's it. And if she doesn't want to do it, fuck her. She's going to do it anyways. But
it's because there's so many romantic stories about writing a role for an actor, and then you're near them so you can stalk them. And we thought we would just get to stalk her for a few months, but she said yes right away, so we're pretty stoked about it.
I guess I would write with certain actors in mind, but as fucked up as it is to say that, it's not for them to play their role. It's like, I like this quality about him, or I like his comedic timing for this. So we'll write like that, or we'll be like, I saw this movie and I like this character in this, or I like this actor in that, but I don't want that actor for this. I want something different and original. A huge thing to say to any actors watching, and we used to both be, struggling, failed,
We're
proudly
failed actresses. We're failed.
When you walk into an audition, they already know if it's you or not. They already know. It's nothing personal. It's just like the look and something about you that says it. And you can't change it. You can't dress the part. But dear God, if they say dress a certain way, fucking come in dressed a certain way, because it's just going to, cut your shelf life even more so. But it's just about if they can embody the character, like Tristan Risk, who plays Beatrice Johnson. We went through so many actresses looking for the right person, and Tristan wasn't even going to be Beatrice. She was going to be our dance coordinator. So she came in, and we were just sitting there watching her, and she's she just lights up a room when she comes in. Like, you know, if Tristan Risk is in a room, it's a fucked up way to say it, but I heard Marilyn Monroe was described the same way. Like, there's just this light about her, and I've never met anyone else like Tristan. And while she was sitting there, like, chirping away like this beautiful little bird, and we were like, you know, Tristan, it's a real shame you can't act. And she's like, oh, I act. And I was like, well, it's too bad you can't do voices. And she's like, oh, Ellen Green from Little Shop of Horrors is my favorite. And I was like, well, I know you can take your clothes off. Do you want to come in and audition? And I said, I'm having you audition for them, not for us, because I know
Pretty much you're the girl.
Well, the static we were going to get is you looked at so many union people and so many LA people, and you want to take a burlesque dancer to be in. And I was like, that's a bullshit stigma, because she's been acting for a long time. Yeah. And you see that in her. You see it as soon as somebody walks into a room.
Yeah, it's hard. Casting's a weird thing. Like David Lovegren. He's awesome, and he's such a sweet man, and he plays such a horrible character, Dr. Grant, in the film. And Katie's best friend is an actor named Brendan Fletcher, and there's a film called Roller Coaster that David does something really horrible to her best friend in. And I love David. I worked with him before, and it was like, good enough for Brendan, good enough for Katie.
Yeah, we wanted Katie to be molested by someone that we knew would do a good job and that she'd feel comfortable with. The actor that played Dr. Black, Nelson Wong.
Oh, he was fantastic.
His agent, and God bless him, forced him into audition for us. And by then we'd already cast Dr. Black, and I was like, this last guy better be so fucking good. And that laugh that Nelson has in the film, and, you know, as a normal person, we heard it as he came in, and I was like, that's Dr. Black. That's just him. And I was so like digging my stilettos and being like, no, I'm not going to cast this guy just because his agent wanted us to do it. I've already cast him. I've already seen him. This better be the best fucking actor I've ever seen. And he was.
We love him so much that we decided that if we do a sequel, it would be called American Black, where it takes place in the exact same timeline, but you follow Dr. Black because he's there, but he disappears. But you only see Mary's life in American Mary, and then you get like a broader universe. For Billy, we had eventually hired Antonio Cupo to play him, but all the Billies that came in first, I hated them. I hated every single Billy. It just wasn't right. They just couldn't do it. So I did something insane. I went on Casting Workbook, and I wrote everyone between 20 and 50, and I handpicked everybody I wanted to come in. And Antonio comes in, and he hasn't read the script. He's only read his scenes, and he comes...
No headshot, no resume,
no nothing. He's
and when asked about that,
he says, I don't do that shit. And he does it. He does the scenes. He does them perfectly awesomely. And then when I like an actor, I heard Tarantino reads with them. And I was like, if I really like someone, I'll read with them. So I go to read with him for the last scene. And he hasn't read the script. He doesn't know anything except for his scenes. And he's like, can I get you standing up? I'm like, yeah, I'll stand up. And he does the scene in such like a sexy, like fucking I'm gonna kiss you moment.
It was a fucking Antonio Banderas moment. I was like, what is going on here?
And I was like,
we're not making that kind of movie.
I was like, okay. What in the script makes you think she would be with you? I mean, last time you saw her, your dick was in another whore's mouth and she's pissed, and he's like, what happened? And I was like, and she cuts people up in body modification. You're scared. What is this movie about? Sweetie, would you come back and read the script? And he did fantastic. And I don't know, they have this it quality, this undeniable it quality. Like, and then you meet people and then they inspire you. Like, we met Lawrence Harvey, and now we wrote something for him because I'm so excited to work with him. We're seeing him in LA. He just tweeted a picture wearing an American Mary t-shirt. And
I love Lawrence Harvey. Speaking about people I want to put in my pocket and bring home with me, Lawrence Harvey.
Yeah, all the Rue Morgue guys and Lawrence Harvey. You all live with the twins now. The end.
Can you tell us what it is that you've written for Lawrence Harvey?
We can say what it's in.
Can we?
Can we say it's in?
No, we can't say what
it's in. We can't say what it's in.
It's the next movie that we want to do.
Yeah.
We wrote
you're not going to
we wrote something in Bob for him. We wrote something
There's
in
something
Bob for him. I don't know if he has
That's
time.
your next movie.
That's the next movie.
And you've written it?
I've written it.
Yeah.
I met him in London, and he's so sweet, and he's so eloquent, and he's so intelligent, and I just want to see him do something else because I think he's such a cool, talented actor, but I don't want him to get pigeonholed as just a human centipede guy. Because I mean, it's cool that he was a human centipede guy, but there's so much more to him. So it's something you wouldn't think of casting him at all, and he's going to be fucking perfect if his schedule works.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'd die to work with Harvey.
Yeah.
Did he ever tell you that he was on a children's television show?
I heard that. It blows my mind.
I need to find that.
Playing weird characters like... I'm not sure if he played this character, but he was working for a guy that created weird characters like a French frog that didn't have any legs, so it was wheeling itself around in a wheelchair.
Oh my God, that's
People eat
brilliant.
That's macabre.
I love that.
He always puts up the coolest things too about like actors with different disabilities on his Facebook while he's just so intelligent. It's just cool.